I did it again. I broke another glass pipe on my 40 breeder aquascape tank. And as much as I love these, this is the second one I've broken. And I think this time it's time I did something a little bit different. So I ordered the stainless FZone intake and return pipes with the surface skimmer, and I'm gonna see how that works. So the one thing I liked is that it showed up right away. I ordered it and I got it the next day. Now that just might be because of where I'm located, but I think most people with a Prime Amazon account are gonna be able to get this within a couple of days. So one thing that was a little confusing when I went to go order this was that I didn't see that it specifically said it comes with a mount for the pipes. I did see the FZone has this really nice aluminum bracket, but it was listed for rimless aquariums, but it was just about the right size. Once I got it here and I went to put it on the tank, it needs to be opened up just a little bit for it to fit. So for right now, I'm going to use the plastic clips that it actually came with, and then later on adapt that in. So my first impression when looking at it, I kind of really do like it. The surface skimmer is nice. It's a pretty simple design where that will just block off the water flow when it's in that position, creating more suction through the top and drawing more water down through your skimmer. What I don't really like about this that I noticed is that this gap right here is a little bit big, and if it was offset, maybe that's a little big for a baby shrimp to get in there, or even a small guppy fry to get caught in there, where it's a little bit tighter on the other setup that I had before. Another thing that I noticed when I was looking at this, it's really spot welded only in 2 spots, while the fitment of this cut right here is pretty nice and it is really well done. It isn't welded all the way around. So is this a pivot point where over time this could fail? Now, I did look around before I bought these, and I was looking at ones that looked just like them online, and people were making comments about how after a few weeks these other brands were rusting, and they were calling them stainless, and some people had noted that they were magnetic. But keep in mind, there are some stainless steels that are magnetic. The higher quality grade stainlesses that are non-magnetic are the ones that usually have better anti-corrosion properties. So as you can see right here, this is my magnet on this level. So you can see that's not magnetic, so that's a good sign right there. So if we go and we look at the other pipe, the return pipe, the first thing you'll notice is that we don't have that lily pipe type diffuser on here like is already in the tank right now. And I like that because it's a big diffusion of the water. This right here is just a pipe and nozzle. This is going to be a nice jet flow across the tank, but do I really need that kind of flow? And is that flow going to be a problem? So really we won't know until we get it in, and then we'll be able to set the height. Let's see how this works. What I'm going to do to kind of measure my flow is I took some video of a before using my CO2 diffuser. So we're looking at those bubbles and how they travel across the tank. And since this is opposite of the water return into the tank, there's a downflow right where that CO2 diffuser is. So we'll be able to kind of gauge from the downflow effect and the flow across the tank if we're seeing more, the same, or less flow using this pipe right here. So the one thing is that this is adjustable. So depending on where you need to mount it, you can just spin this, and this does come out, which gives me an idea of later in life, is there an ability to change this over to a different type of discharge, and maybe there is a lily pipe attachment that we can put on there. So let's get these pipes put on. So the first thing I always recommend is get yourself a towel, because we're dealing with water, so you know it's going to end up on the floor. So what we're going to do here is just want to check. See, this is kind of loose now where that goes over that. I have something else I can put on there. I'm going to see how I can size this up. So what I got here is that I have this really coarse, heavy sponge here. It was actually from the cube tank, the old filter. And I'm just going to cut a piece of it, and I think that'll work perfectly as a coarse sponge protector. So what I did is just measured roughly where I wanted it to be, and then I'm just going to take a few slices with a razor blade. Try and keep this as straight as possible. Never cut towards you. Be a good Boy Scout. Watch where your fingers are, and there you go. So what I'm going to do here is that rather than try and cut a hole in this, which would be very hard, I'm just going to cut an X in it, and that is really going to help just it form itself around. And there I have it, pretty well protected. And this is what I was saying before about how loose this is in here. Like, there is a decent gap if that gets off-sided. For my old filter, you may have seen in my other videos, I had this on there on the top. I'm going to put it in without it first, just so we can see it, but I've been running it like this as protection because I have so many small fry and shrimp in the tank, and it could be a real problem them getting in there. Let's just see how this works in the tank and kind of go from there. And this could be a little tricky. It is a tight fit. You see, that's a little too low and I'm floating, so we're gonna want to pick that up just a little bit. But I think this is a good time to show you the mounts that it comes with. So the mounting kit that it comes with is this, with these plastic screws and this clear plastic, which will easily fit over there and hold this pipe on. But you got to put this on before the hose on the bottom. We can see sponge here where it wants to kick it out. That's a little too far out for me. Let's see if we try this the other way. Problem is on this side, we're not going to be able to get the clamp to work. So, and then I could probably pick that up a little bit and we'll set the height. So there are some long, some short screws. So the short ones are going to be probably to mount the pipe, just something to kind of pin it into place. With that done, we'll do the other one. One thing I can say is that these are considerably longer than the glass pipe, so I will have to adjust my hosing. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of get it on and see how everything kind of performed first before we modified anything permanently. That's going to be our new pipe for the go return. And my little trick, if people always fight with these, is push them up and together and then give it a little twist, and that'll break the seal without doing any sort of damage. Same sort of thing. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try and capture as much as I can. And here we are with the example of the two different pipes. So you can kind of see, like, it's just going to be a discharge tube. So we'll see how that works. Oh, we got to put the mount on it. And because of how I have my plumbing underneath it, it is kind of being a little bit extra difficult here. But I've got new hose coming. I'm going to make this fit correctly. One thing's good here is I do kind of need this pipe up kind of high near the surface. Kind of set my height where I want this to be. First, let me get my bracket locked down for position. I think that's a pretty decent height right there. And fortunately, I have some suction cup mounts, which I'm just going to put on because really it's my hose lengths that are creating this problem. Just kind of give me some peace of mind that this is in it. And because this tip can be rotated, we can kind of play with the angle that this is pointing out in. So that's it. I think we're pretty good to go. Now it's time to start it up and see what we got. I'm going to pass a little bit of that water. There was some airs in the pipes there. So this is the part you got to dial in your skimmer here. So as you see, if I turn it there, I've got way too much air, way too much suction. So we turn it until I just got a little bit on the surface skimmer, nothing crazy. And there's a great example. They just love to swim in the current and right up against it. But if I can keep it right at that level, I think then everybody will be safe. But now for the real test is to go and see what this looks like on the side with CO2 and compare it to what we had before. So to me, that does look like a little bit more downflow. It does look like the bubbles are a little bit lower in the water column there. I mean, not much, but there's definitely a good amount of water downflow on the opposite side. And let's go around to the front of the tank here and get a better idea, because we can really see it. Right now, the biggest unknown is the long-term quality with these pipes right here. Only by using them will I be able to tell you if I think they're a really good product in the long run. I do got to say, I've got to love the fact that I don't have to worry about breaking them. So just a question for you. Have you ever gone to these stainless pipes and ever gone back to glass ones? I'm curious because, I mean, thinking that's something that I'd like to do for pictures, but everyday use, I think this is the right answer. Tell me in the comments below what you think. Let's see how it goes, and I'll see you on the next one.